Today we're going to create these amazing fancy window cards. So basically we're creating a belly band with a window. Guys, these cards are easy, they are fun. We're going to create both of these today, so let's jump in and get started. Hello everybody, I'm Connie Stewart with SimplySimpleStamping.com, and I am so appreciative that you guys came over from the live that just went a little wonky to join me on a pre-recorded video. Guys, these fancy window cards are so much fun. I can't wait to teach it to you, so we're going to get started. All right, we're going to start with this one here. So for this one, the window / the belly band, we're going to use designer series paper. This card's going to feature the painted lavender stamp set, but you notice there are no sentiments in this set. So I brought in comforting thoughts to give me a sentiment for the outside and for the inside. Our ink pad colors today are Fresh Freesia, Lost Lagoon, Highland Heather, and Crumb Cake. I have two pieces of basic white cardstock. These are both 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. I'm going to bring a little bit of grid paper underneath me because I'm actually going to be stamping off the bottom of the cardstock. So we're going to start here with the grass of the painted lavender, and I'm going to use the Lost Lagoon ink pad. And I'm going to stamp here on the bottom of the cardstock. And yep, you can see how I'm kind of coming off the bottom there a little bit. And we're going to do this. Both of these pieces of cardstock are going to kind of be the same. Now I'll bring in some Highland Heather. Let's add some flowers. So we've got these sweet little flowers here. And there's really no right or wrong where you stamp them. I am going to kind of rotate my stamp around so it gets a little bit more of a random feel. Let me repeat that right over here. In Highland Heather, I'm going to stamp on just one of these. This is for the inside, wishing you comfort. We'll be coming back to that Highland Heather, so don't put it away just yet, but let's bring in a little Fresh Freesia to add some more kind of, whoops, I'm losing my cardstock here. So I'm just kind of randomly stamping these bits of lavender here on my card. And now in Crumb Cake, let's add a couple butterflies. So remember, this one's for the inside of my card. I'm going to stamp a couple butterflies there and kind of fluttering off the flowers. Now on this one, I'm going to stamp the butterflies, and I want them to be kind of up high here. They'll be hidden, but we want to go ahead and get those stamped. Now there will be a sentiment on this in Highland Heather, but we have to wait until we create our window to add that. My card base is Blackberry Bliss. Guys, that is a 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. I have 2 pieces of Crumb Cake, and these pieces are a 3 1/2 by 5. I'm going to go ahead and adhere one on the front of my card, and then I'm going to add the other one inside my card. And now we can add those stamped images. There's the inside, and here's the outside. All right, we have that done. Now it's time to create the fancy window. I have a piece of the Perennial Lavender Designer Series paper. That is a 3 1/4 by 8 1/2, and I did some scoring on this. So I scored it at 4 1/8 and at 8 1/4. Right. So that's just going to give us just this little sliver right here on the side. And then we're just going to fold the Designer Series paper over. It's going to line up right there on the opposite side. And that's what we're going to use to create that belly band. I'm going to use the Labeled with Love punch on this one. And you're going to push that cardstock in. By the way, this is the end with the little tab. So we're going to go on the opposite side. I'm going to push that punch in as far as it'll go. You're going to line it up from side to side and give that a punch. Just a little bit of multi-purpose glue down that little 1/8 of an inch tab. So that's going to create that little belly band and the window. So I'll tell you what, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and slide that in place. And you can kind of decide where you want it to go. I'm going to line it up. I think I want just a little bit of that crumb cake to show. Really, you can do whatever you want to here. Now we're going to come back in with the Highland Heather. And now that we have that window, we can stamp our sentiment. And this one says, I wish I could make this better. So this is going to be a great get well or thinking of you card. Let's slide this off because we're going to add a little bit of ribbon. And I thought this pretty peacock and gold ribbon would go just beautiful. So before I start, I'm going to bring in a mini glue dot. I'm just going to use my take your pick tool to pick that up. And I'm going to add that right here on the left-hand side. So make sure your flowers are going the right direction. I'm going to take that ribbon. I'm going to slide it into my window, right? Just like this. And that little mini glue dot's going to give me a little extra security. So I'm going to move my ribbon right there. And I'm going to tie this over once, you know, just like we're about to make a bow. And I'm going to take that, I'm holding it straight up and down, the ribbon, just press that into that mini glue dot, and it kind of holds it in place and gives me the ability to create my bow without fighting with the middle there. I'm now ready to send the card. So with that bow there on the side, and like I said, it's just kind of a unique take on the belly band. Both the inside and outside are beautiful, but it's that little band that kind of makes it stand out. All right, friends, let's go ahead and create the other card. Be sure to save or print the free download that goes along with today's video. Guys, this has everything you need to recreate the cards. You'll find it at simplysimplestamping.com, or if you look down in the YouTube description, I have a direct link to today's post. This one is so pretty, so special. So you notice I did not use designer series paper. I stamped all over some cardstock. And again, the front of the card is still beautiful, but ooh, you add that window belly band and it's a wow. So for this card, we're going to be using the Petunia Pop as our card base. Again, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Instead of crumb cake, I'm going to use some old olive. And same measurements, my friends, 3 1/2 by 5. And again, my basic white, 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. For this card, I'm going to use the Wild Ferns stamp set along with the matching dies. And my ink pad colors, Pretty in Pink and Petunia Pop. We're going to start with that Pretty in Pink. And there's a great little swirl stamp in the Forever Ferns that I just loved. So in Pretty in Pink, I'm going to stamp this little swirl, very random. All right, there's no really right or wrong to where you're going to stamp it. Now I'm going to bring in some Pretty in Pink. Now this measurement is a little bit different. It is 4 1/4 by 8 1/2. The scoring is the same, 4 1/8 and 8 1/4. Now I'm not going to crease this down yet because I'm going to go ahead with that Pretty in Pink and that same swirl. I'm going to randomly stamp this all over my cardstock. And I almost missed this, but I want just a little bit of that Pretty in Pink there in the corner of the other piece of basic white. We're going to bring in our Petunia Pop, and this is going to be just a quick and easy thank you card. So in Petunia Pop, we'll say thank you. Now, don't let your Petunia Pop get too far away because we have one more bit of stamping. We'll be doing that here in a second. So let's bring in one of our old olive pieces of cardstock. We're going to do a little die cutting. So here in the dies, you have 2 different border pieces. I'm going to go, well, you could go with either one. I think I'm going to go with this one. It's, I don't know, I guess a little bit more flowery. So what I'm going to do, we're going to die cut this, and I'm going to die cut one here and one here. Now we're going to be covering this with that stamped piece of cardstock. So all I ask of you is that you kind of avoid the edges, all right? So I'm going to get that die cut for you, and it's going to look a little like this. So I'll tell you what, since we have this here, we're going to go ahead and add this to the front of our card. I love to conserve my cardstock, so anytime I can die cut from behind a layering piece, boy, I do it. So we're going to add that here to the front of our card. We'll cover up all that ick there with our stamped cardstock. I've got my other piece of old olive. Now, you want to make sure it's the flat piece that's on the inside of the card, because when you go to write your message on this piece, we don't want any of those lumpies and bumpies underneath, right? So I always make sure anytime I'm doing those layers, it's there on the front. Okay, let's do one more bit of work here on our belly band, and that we're going to actually bring those dies back in. We're going to be using this die, and we're going to be using this die. I can easily see that is the little tab that's going to hold everything together. I want to take my largest die, and I'm going to center that up in this part of the frame. There's the 4 1/8 that I scored, and I'm going to run this through so that I can get myself a nice little window. And there we go. There is our window. And I can go ahead and take a moment just to add some multi-purpose glue here on the tab, and we'll adhere that in place. Now, this piece that I have left over, because I don't waste cardstock, I'm going to bring my Petunia Pop back in. I'm going to stamp right in the middle of it. You are greatly appreciated. Then I'm going to take that smaller label die, and we're going to die cut that. Right, I've got that done. Let me set that off to the side. We're going to go ahead and add these fantastic frames. Do you see how we're just going to add those right here? It just really just makes this card amazing. So my tip to do that, I like to use a silicone mat because I'm a little bit messy when it comes to the multi-purpose glue. So I'm just going to, I just like to kind of dot just a little bit of the multi-purpose glue here on the leaves, and then of course here on the frame. We'll line it up right there on that opening. Give all of these a good press. I'm going to repeat that here with the other one, and we're going to adhere it down in the opposite corner. I've got a piece of Petunia Pop bordered ribbon. I'm going to press that right there in the center of a mini glue dot. And let's add that here to the side of our window. I'm going to go ahead and bring my card in, slide my window down. This time I decided to center it there at the top and the bottom. That greatly appreciated is just going to fit right inside there. By the way, I do want to give you a bit of warning. If you think, ooh, that would be great with Stampin' Dimensionals, don't do it. It will get caught on this belly band. It will not work. So make sure you're just using adhesive to adhere down your sentiment. And guys, check it out. Look at this beautiful, beautiful card. Love it. I hope you do too. Let me go ahead and bring in the first card, because I think both of these cards just came out gorgeous. So you can see this window can be any size. I probably wouldn't go past 4 1/4 in the depth of it there. And you can go smaller as well. You can use designer series paper. Maybe you've got some long scraps that you're looking to create with. Well, that will be an awesome one. Friends, I hope that you're going to give this card a try, because not only is it beautiful, it is fun to make. Thank you so much for joining me today. As always, I hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you did, a thumbs up is always appreciated. If you have not subscribed, oh, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That way YouTube can let you know whenever I'm back with the new video. Ring the bell and you'll always get those notifications. Well, friends, that is all for me today. Go create those fancy window cards and send them to a friend. And I will stamp with you guys on the next video. Bye-bye.